Hey, good people, important post here, one I should have done probably many posts ago. It is about the ongoing numerology and gematria in all of the plane hoaxes, going back even further than what I'm about to start with. But I want to focus especially on the number 227, 227, which has a lot to do with pi. On November 11th, 1965, there was a crash, United Airlines Flight 227. The pilot responsible for the crash was named Gail C. Keemer. If you sum up his whole name, it sums to 66, a number I talk a lot about on this blog. By the way, if you've never seen one of my posts before, please watch the introductory post linked up in my banner. It's very important. Then come back to this, otherwise it might not make sense. Fair warning. Okay, so his name sums to 66. He also has a last name coded with their number 47, which they love. The same number that represents the word time. Think of Time magazine, which glorifies most of these fake plane crashes, including this one. His co-pilot, his name summed to 77, another number. The phrase Knights of Templar sums to 77. The American meridian is the 77th meridian. Also down below, I just want to let you know that the words airlines sums to 42 in gematria, and airways sums to 33. So if you're ever traveling, be warned. All right. So that 227 passengers, that shows up a lot in these hoaxes. A lot. And if you recall earlier this year, there was flight MH370. I started my blog in October tracking the numerology and occult numbers that seemed to be purposefully coded into reporting. And so I had been tracking this for about 5 months when this story broke. And before it broke, I predicted earlier in the day, before this was even news, that something was going to happen that day because it was the 66th day of the year. And I realized big news broke a lot on the 66th day of the year in history. And it followed suit. It turned out MH370 was the story. So, as you can recall, it was the 66th day here in the United States when it was reported. That was March 7th, and it was the 67th day of the year where it happened. So 66th day in the United States, 67th day where it crashed supposedly in the Indian Ocean. What's interesting about the number 67 is that the word water equals 67 in gematria, and this story had a lot to do with water. They're now using something called the multi-beam to search the water. Can you guess what the gematria of multi-beam is? Yes, it's 33. So, the plane, the official story is that it went missing at 7:24 a.m. And it took me a couple weeks to catch this, but 7:24 a.m., imagine 7 times 60 for 60 minutes a day. That's 420 plus 24 more. 444. So the plane went missing in the 444th minute of the day, which is significant because 444 has a lot to do with tragedy and big disasters. Initially, there was suspicion that 2 men using false passports from Thailand had hijacked the plane, possibly. That story was later proven to be false, but Thailand and the word hijack both have a gematria of 33, as does the word Indian in Indian Ocean. The pilot, there were 2 pilots in this story. One was named Zahari Ahmad Shah, and his name sums to 77 in gematria, a lot like the other story I just showed you. And then there was another pilot who had the last name Farik, which sums to 33, and he was shown for weeks to be suspicious. One day they had a story about how his apartment was raided and suspicious materials were taken from it. Another story was released about how he'd been flying around with cute girls in the cockpit during commercial flights. They were trying to paint him as this sketchy character. He had a 33 name. Peter Bergen, the main reporter on Osama bin Laden, also became the main reporter on this story, and his reporting was syndicated everywhere. Peter Bergen, he happens to be someone with a 33 name. As I was decoding this, and I'm going to link this down in the comments, as I was decoding the headlines, the number 93 kept popping up, which is the number in the occult religion Thelema, the most important number. On 9/11, it was flight 93 of 33 passengers that crashed in Pennsylvania, known as the Keystone State. Keystone has a gematria of 33, and if you go back and watch the witness from that day, her name was Emma Bergen. She was the eyewitness of that crash. Again, the name Bergen, 33. Her testimony was given from the Hilton Hotel. Hilton also sums to 33. So in this crash, there were 227 passengers. Again, 22 divided by 7 gives us the number for pi, which has to do with circles. And what I'm telling you is these plane hoaxes are an ongoing circle of the same numbers, decade after decade. To prove my point, December 4th, 1777. Look at the numerology of that date. 12 plus 4 plus 77 sums to 93. On that date, it was a MAS plane, Malaysian Airlines again, that crashed with 93 passengers. MAS, the acronym, is 13 plus 1 plus 19 sums to 33. If you go read the official story, which I have linked down in the comments, it was 33 minutes into the flight. The plane left at 7:21, which corresponds with my birthday, July 21st. And at 7:54, 33 minutes later, reported that it was having an emergency problem, had to land, and would be landing at runway 33, if you can believe it. The whole story is linked. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm showing you how redundant it all is, what they do to us. Here's another flight with a lot of the same numerology. It was a big story. Pan Am 103, which was blamed on Muammar Gaddafi, had 227 passengers and crashed December 21st, 1988. Think about 12/21, that date. 12 plus 21 is 33. Disney released its first animated film on that date, Once Upon a Time. If you sum 12 plus 21 plus 88, it sums to 121. That's 11 times 11, another number these occult like. It was known as the Lockerbie bombing. The gematria of Lockerbie is 44, just like the word kill. Kill sums to 44 in gematria. It's said that the debris fell and killed 11 more people in Scotland, if you can believe it. There was also the Egypt Air crash, October 31st, 1999, Halloween. The gematria of that date is 33. Egypt Air, the airline's 42. It crashed in Massachusetts, one of 3 states with a 33 gematria. It left from Kennedy Airport. Of course, the 33 gematria. The thing is, guys, I could do about 8 more of these examples that are already on my blog. If I took even more time to research, I'm sure I'd find more of these crashes. If I went into a web search and typed in 227 passengers, I'd probably find even more. The point is, these hoaxes need to stop, and we can stop it by revealing it, sharing information, working together, and that's what we have to do. Otherwise, these hoaxes are just going to be the complete circle, the 227.